I love Claude Cowork. It is super cool and it is my favorite digital employee, especially since last night when I gave it two tasks and it did it perfectly. And all I had to do is come to my desk in the morning to have a completely reorganized, recategorized, and retags document library. My resource library was completely done for me when I woke up in the morning. And the other piece is I took my vendors' user documents here, my public user documents, and I actually had Claude Cowork go completely resynthesize all of these user documents based on my 10-step campus map process. I basically had it combine them, put them together, and show how using my Fluent Community software, which is the stuff that runs this community, I basically created my own resource library on how to use Fluent Community to do it and use it to apply the 10-step campus map. And I handed that off to Claude Cowork, and it has all been done for me when I woke up in the morning. And I'm going to go through the process that I did, show you how I did it. It took about 15 to 20 minutes to actually get the work part done with it, and I left it and I woke up to the actual work that's done. And this is a fundamental shift on how all of us actually work with these AI tools, because this is a digital employee. It gets stuff done as opposed to us asking questions. And if you get your head wrapped around that, you're going to think completely differently about all the work you do on a regular day when it comes to educational content, creating content, marketing your content. The only thing that we're not doing here, which is all about step 2 in my privately branded campus, my campus map, is to talking and interacting and teaching people and helping people implement and apply all of this cool information that you have. But you have to have it organized, and you have to have it, in my case, I think, in your own privately branded campus, which is what we do here at trainingsites.io. Now, if you haven't been here before, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go to that link below, trainingsites.io/join. Join my privately branded campus. Everything is available for you. It's all free here. All of the content, all of the videos, all of the stuff that we do, again, is here free for you. So here's the situation. I got Claude Cowork, and I've done a number of videos on Cowork. I'll open it up for you. This is the task that I did last night, and I'm going to show you the actual tasks that I went through here live. Again, if you haven't or you're not familiar with Cowork, Cowork is available on all of the paid plans now with Claude. And you'll notice here it says task. It's not new chat. Looks like a chat, but it's new task. And it allows us to basically go and ask the AI agent or agents to go and get things done. And what we give them are skills, simple skill files on how we want things done, and we give them access to tools to actually go and do the work. And this is some of the other stuff that I've done in some of the other videos. In fact, I have a complete skills library that is available for the paid members within trainingsites.io that do all of these things. But what I did is I basically built a real quick skill, took me 5 minutes, and I said to Claude Cowork, I said, here's the skill. Here's access to my WordPress site. I want you to go do the work, and then I only want to know when it's finished. That's what happened. So let's take a look, and we'll run through this chat that I actually had last night. First thing is, campus map is up here, this markdown file. Remember I said I had that 10-step map? What I did is I basically took the map, and it was based on these 3 phases of the 10 steps. These are the phases, and you can see they're right here. The 10 steps are there. But what I did is I did that as a markdown file so that Claude knew my process and all of the information, my application of it, that this is what my business is about. This is how we apply things. This is the way that we do things. So I gave it that particular map, and I said, there's the file. The first thing it is, I had a document library, but it was a mess. I had been adding to it ad hoc. It didn't represent the map. It's because I did a video and there was great resources for it, or a bunch of prompts about something. I put the prompts in the library. I had to put them somewhere. They're not a course. They're valuable content. I need to put them somewhere. I put them in the document library, but it wasn't organized very well. So I said, based on the map, I want you to analyze the clearest way to reorganize the categories and tagging in my current document library. So that was the first task that I gave it. I didn't say what is the best way. I said, give me an analysis of it. And it did. It went through and it identified, excuse me, 24 categories. 8 were completely empty or poorly structured. It didn't have the phases that I was talking about that were here. It didn't organize them well. Gave me some improvements, and it actually provided a working document to let me know what a good idea was and what a bad idea was, why the recommendations were, and it asked, do I want to start working on it? And I didn't want to work on it right away. I had a couple more questions. So, excuse me, sip of coffee there. Got a little tickle in my throat. So here's what happened. Went through back and forth, and there was a couple things that it didn't do. And one of them was that I wanted to make sure that because I do lots of stuff about ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, I wanted to make sure that there was categories or tagging specific to those particular products and or topics that I did. So I asked it to put it in. It went and redid things, explained what it was doing and some tagging to support it. So like the employee came to me and I said, hey, wait a second, did you consider that? And said, no, I didn't. So I said, go do your some work and then come back. And again, these ones I left, right? I just asked it and left, let it go and do the work. And it went to the website and looked at the existing categories. It looked at the documentation that I had. It went through the content of all of the existing knowledge base and took a look at it. And then figured out which is the stuff and where does it fit in. And the other one that I kind of was playing around with here is I had this one, and you know, I in many cases when I'm doing things is there's all sorts of user documents from other websites. In this case, Fluent Community, which is the one that we use to run the trainingsites.io site, they have user documents. They've got a complete knowledge base of how to use this particular software. This is all public, it's all available, but it's generic to using the Fluent Community software. It has nothing to do with my privately branded campus process and recipe. It has nothing to do with how it's applied to create your own privately branded campus for educational spaces. So it is raw material, but it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to teach. So I also had that as well as an idea, and there's lots of user documents, places that are public that I'd love to use. So I asked a little bit more about, well, maybe what we could do is, look at another document library and bring it in. And we did a couple more back and forth and said, well, where does that fit in? And I said, if I ask you to add the Fluent Community docs to my docs, or the where and how would they be added? So that was the last piece. It took a look at some ones. And then it finally, put it together, gave me the final recommendations. And I was pretty comfortable with what was going on there, final structures. I looked at it all, and I basically said reorganize the current categories and tagging with the last options and the 12 categories. So I had 24. We started out with 8. We agreed on 12. Back and forth with my employee, got it done. So that's exactly what it did. Now, I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm working with this particular tool, Claude Cowork. Not only can it write to your local files on your hard drive, but it can write because I gave it the tool of, if you look in the bottom right-hand side here, you're going to see that there is something called context connectors. I have Claude in Chrome. Remember, Claude Cowork can access the Chrome browser as if it was you. And there's another one that I have with WordPress called AI Engine, which is my MCP connector. Again, we've talked about these. If you haven't, just put a comment below and I'll get the links to you. But it's a tool that allows Claude to talk to my WordPress site. So that was the tool that I gave. I've agreed upon a to-do list here with Claude Cowork. Now I'm saying, hey, go do the work. So I'm going to be upfront with you. If you have an employee that you haven't had do any work for you before live on your website, would you just go say to them, yeah, go play around on my website. I don't care what you do. No, I went and made a backup immediately before we did anything. This was a one-off thing. I had put together an idea of what I wanted, got some confirmation talking back and forth to my employee, but this is the first time I had this employee do the work. I made the backup. Yet told me we agreed upon what it's going to do, but I wasn't 100% sure on how it was going to be done. I had given it some skills or rules on how I wanted it done, but it's an employee. Sometimes it guesses, or does it? Depending on the quality of the skills that I gave it. Maybe it uses the tool a little bit differently than I anticipated. I gave it the tool, but I wanted to make sure. So I made a backup of the data in my WordPress site. So if it was there doing something on the data, I had a copy of it. Now, I could have said, and I did actually, make sure that any of the work that you do in terms of adding content is, or editing content is only in draft so that I'm not losing anything and I have the revisions, but I made a backup, and that's the point that I kind of want to get across here. So I gave it the instruction, first of all, to go and redo the categories and the tags to get it organized based on the map. And this is exactly what it did, and I left it. So let me reorganize the categories, and it basically went through the steps here, and it created 12 new categories. I had 24, it created 12 new ones. That's the first thing it did. And let me check what it has. It went through to double check everything, updated the to-do list. And in the upper right-hand side, you can see that there's all of the different pieces or work that it did in each of the segments. So this is a running commentary on my employee, what's actually going to do the work, right? Let me start migrating the existing articles to the new categories. Does some samples, goes through it, double checks, goes through the work, and then it goes through the migration. So what it did is it actually went through all of the articles in my document library and figured out where they should go in which of the categories with each of the tags. And it went through and did all of this. It took 10, 15 minutes for it to happen. I wasn't looking over the shoulder of it. It was actually done. I gave it good instructions. And in my case, just take a look here on the right-hand side. It says 102 steps. These are all things that this agent did on my behalf with my tools and the skills or the instructions that I had given it for the to-do. So it went through, it did all of this work for me. I didn't have to do it, it was done for me. This is not chat prompt response. This is, here's a task, go and do it. Completely reorganized my training site, not my desktop, my training site, because I gave it access to the tool. In this case was the MCP connector on my WordPress site, and I had some exact instructions or skills that I provided it. So it went through 102 steps there. It took a little bit of time to do it. It was all done and worked through. Now, here's the other part that's cool. I just handed that off, right? Um, it was done. I was really happy with it. It was great. Now, I showed you another screen at the top. And again, all of this is available for you within trainingsites.io. So here's the other part that's kind of interesting. I have, and I'll open this one up for you. Fluent Community has all of these user documents, right? I have my campus map. I have my reorganized document library. Fluent Community, which is a software that I tell people how to use. I reference all the time. These are the ones that the agency installs. They've got these document libraries that answer all of the questions that most people have. I don't want to create a course for it, but I want to make sure I don't send people to the Fluent Community docs to try and figure it out. I want the document library that is already created, I want it made into my own based on those 10 steps and what my students need in my community to apply for their particular privately branded campus. So what did I do? Well, I said, you know what, Claude, why don't you go take a look at the user docs for Fluent Community? And I created a skill, and that skill, I'll show you, that skill says, go to the Fluent Community docs, and I want you to, for each of the individual documents, I want you to use this transformation, and that was the skill, that is repurposing that content based on my campus map and my processes and my branding and my naming conventions, what I want you to do is I want you to update and create brand new posts in my reorganized document library. You know what I did? I left it. I told it to do that and I left it. And it actually went through during the night and it went through all of this and went through them. And there we go, platforms. And there's my skill configuration about the steps that it would do. So here's an example. Operates in 4 modes, automatically detects and user specifies. So I have it set up my skill that says, is this a software document? Is it like user docs for software? When to use, when it applies, what's the category that it goes into. If it's prompts, if I'm copying prompts from someone, if it's a course content, if it's a marketing content, and then it figures out which one it is. And again, this is a skill. It's available to you for the private members. Puts it in, organizes it, gets it all put together. So I created a skill for this, and then I left it go, and I said, go do it and get it done. It went through over the evening, and let me see the final report that it was there. Creating the GAF documents, there's a space. And again, I woke up to this. Batches, it did it in batches. There's all the new ones that it created from the actual links on the user documents. And then I've got a summary of actually what happened here, of what it actually went through and did. So 30 hours manually, 2 hours a task. So did it in under 2 hours. It was done. This is what I have for it. So let's go take a look. I'll open up my document library and here's what I'm going to do. I have it set up so that it's not automatically publishing. I said, hey, let's go through and make sure that it's only a draft. So I'm going to go to the WordPress admin here. I'll open this up. We've got all the sections for it. And I'm going to go to Better Docs, which is the WordPress plugin that I have. And I'm going to go take a look and see what happened here. It's going to open up my documents. And again, remember, this is something that I came to this morning after it worked last night. I'm going to look at the document status. I'm going to look at draft. And I'm going to pull this open. And you're going to see that all of these user docs from here have all been recreated based on the skill and actually added to my WordPress site with the tool, which was the MCP connector, which connects Claude to the WordPress site with all of the correct categories and all of the correct tagging based on the skill that I provided. And all of these are not published because I didn't want them published right away. So what I'm going to do is, there's 46 documents that were done. Let's go, and we got 20 on these ones. Let's do a bulk edit. And I think I can do a bulk edit. Not sure what I can do. Let's see, all authors, all dates. What can I do? Action. Title. What are the things I can do here? Oh, I'm going to have to publish these. Let me just go and see how I can publish them. I don't know if I have to do these. Actually, we'll do it this way. This is a new interface to Better Docs. Normally I use the other one, so let's take a look. We'll use the classic UI and see if I can do that here. Okay, there we go. So here's the ones that were drafts. We'll do it this way, a little bit easier. For me, I've got all of the ones that were there done. And you'll notice here it says teaching members, study hall, study halls, campus. It repurposed the content from those other user docs and it made it my own. And again, it's got all of the tagging and stuff that is set up. These are some of the demo ones that I did at the start. I don't want these ones over that are drafts. So those are ones I did as a practice one. How many do we have? There's too many that are done. So let me do it this way. I'm going to change the number for the screen options. We're going to do not 100. We'll do 40. And apply that so only 40 show up in the docs, in the drafts. There we go. Not this many. I don't want that many. Okay, so just for the purpose of this, I do it after. I don't want to do and spin anymore. So let's do this. I'm going to undo those ones. I'm just going to do these 3 or 4. And in bulk actions, I'm going to edit them. I'm going to apply. And what we're going to do is we're just going to mark them as published. And in my case, I'm going to update them. And they're going to be updated. So I left them as drafts, but now I have them as actual ones that are published. And if we go take a look at all of them now, published documents, I'm just going to go take a look at it. And I've got study hall membership invitations, growing your community strategically, understanding the message of the invitations, who can send invitations. And all of this now has my naming, my brand, and it was based on the user documents from a vendor that are public user documents. I woke up to this. I didn't have to do any of that additional work. I had a digital employee go and do this for me. This is a huge time saver, hours and hours and hours of doing this manually. I just gave a skill on how I want things done. I gave it the tool enabled to access the WordPress site. And then I went to Claude Cowork and I said, look, this is what I want you to do. Reorganized, tag my existing stuff, take this new stuff, make it my own, and put it in. Start thinking about all of the cool stuff you can do when it comes to marketing your business, creating content for your education business, doing outreach for your business, interacting with students, with your community. This is a whole brand new world for anyone who wants to start building, grow an education business. And if you aren't getting on board on this, you're going to be left behind. Because if I can go now to any user document that is one that is public, that is pertinent and refers to my particular business and my community, I can apply this skill and automatically bring that curated content directly into my community and make it available for free. So if you think that creating a course is going to be able to replace all of the user documentation on something that you're trying to teach, and I can do that in 5 or 10 minutes with some instructions and then have that work done for you, you're in some serious trouble. This is James speaking. Hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe to the channel. Sorry we got a little bit off on the end, but these are live sessions that I do every day to help you start, build, and grow your business. Like and subscribe, join the community. I'm here to help you. Take care and expect the best.